Alright, good morning. Time to put on my reporter hat and get to work. But first, let's check Twitter and see what the news of the day is. Carjacking, a 4-hour police chase, politics as usual, and wait, what's this? Furry Vore drama on my good Christian app? Oh, I found my scoop. Let's dig a little deeper, shall we? So for those not in the know about this particular brand of drama, about a couple of months ago, some juicy drama started up on Twitter between two high-profile and popular, mainly Vore-themed accounts, Malfaren and Navos, aka Wordcaster. Now, what was interesting with this drama was how fast it flew off the rails and how completely one-sided it became. Let me explain. For context, I do not know either Malfaren or Navos. I've never interacted with them before researching and scripting this video, nor do I know anyone they talk about it in the upcoming recap. I'm going at this completely as an outside observer, not beholden to be biased to either party. I also have to stress not to go out and harass either of them. This video is more so a practice run of trying some form of journalism, and under no means should anyone harass these two. They've each gotten enough undeserved harassment. With that said, wow, is this bad against Navos? This all started with Navos deciding to make a call-out post against Malfaren way back in late July. This now deleted post included quite a few chat logs of what appears to allegedly be Malfaren interacting sexually with a 15-year-old minor over several posts. I'm not going to show them because yikes. The only issue here being that these logs were fake and Navos refused to say who gave them to him. Pretty quickly, Navos deleted the thread, admitted they were clearly fake, and issued a bit of an apology without really saying sorry by offering up a limp, "My bad." Now, is that the end of it? Oh no, not at all. There's so much more. Honestly, too much to completely cover. There's quite a lot of personal back and forth between Malf and Navos, and some involving third parties that don't really have a voice to defend themselves or are particularly involved outside of being used as reasonings for harassment or why one party is a terrible person or whatnot. At least to my knowledge after doing this research. So I think I'll leave them out of it except for some brief mentions here or there, just to keep the video focused. Anyway, things continued about a month later in early September where Navos decided to put together a call-out post again and a Google Doc promising to expose a, quote, well-known furry who harmed him and his friend, and that he truly doesn't care about this person but is making the doc as a means to warn others, but also says that he is willing to talk it out over Telegram with the offended party, and then throws in a nice little jab at the end daring Malfaren to respond, to which Malfaren did, allegedly asked Navos not to post it and wrote up his own multi-page Google Doc addressing the accusations and such. Since Navos deleted his, this is the only one we have that includes parts of Navos's. Before we get into that meat, I'd like to just point out that this was the wrong way to approach these things, for both parties. On one hand, you should never make a call-out post and then post about it like it's some big event. Call-out posts, whether people are for or against them, personally I'm neutral, some are good, some are bad, are meant to warn people about potentially harmful interactions or business ventures. They are not and should not be treated as publicity events to help you get followers. Announcing a time and using cryptic buzzwords like well-known furry is just irresponsible and shows a potential bias to the post, meaning that you may not have the best intentions in mind when making it. And intention is very important for these posts. Now, as for Malf, I think he made the mistake of contacting Navos before this. Sure, it gave him the time to read the Google Doc and come up with his own detailed response, but on the other hand, he played directly into Navos's goading. That's exactly what that last part was for, enticing Malfaren to respond, and it worked, showing that he could easily get Malf's attention by just daring him to. It also seemed a bit unneeded given the lack of following it was getting from Navos anyway, who at this point was loudly arguing with and insulting people commenting on the thread and hemorrhaging followers as they all quickly clicked that unfollow button. But hey, it at least gave me research material. Geez, there's a lot here. Although a good chunk of it details third-party interactions between the two of them, including some rather important names being Zephyr and Alistair. Again, I want to stress that I don't know who these people are, and I've never interacted with them. All I have are the logs present in these docs and Navos' video, which I will go over later in the timeline. To start, we have probably the name that shows up the most being Zephyr. The main story being that Malfaren thinks Zephyr and Navos are friends with or without benefits notwithstanding. This is an issue as allegedly Zephyr is a bit of a stalker and a known abuser to victims. I do not claim to know whether this is true or not, and I say that stalking and emotional abuse are serious issues and victims should be granted support. Anyway, this report gets a bit muddled and is more so a he said she said situation between Malf and Navos, with Malf disliking Navos' response to 2 of Zephyr's alleged stalking victims by downplaying their experience and alleging through these posts that Navos is more than likely friends with Zephyr, if not friends with benefits. There doesn't seem to be any proof of that apart from Navos stating in his video that he once picked Zephyr up to help him move and was admittedly a bit of a dick, henceforth having Zephyr dislike him for that, and more alleged accounts from Navos' roommate. On one hand, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but is ultimately unrelated and unprovable, whereas Malf is a bit in the wrong here with his alleging that Navos' disbelief of the victims is evidence of a friendship or more between this apparent stalker. That's conjecture, and again, really doesn't add anything besides a light accusation about who Navos may potentially hang his hat with. It doesn't hold water. The only issue that does come to light is Navos admitting in some chat log shown in Malf's Google Doc that he knew that Zephyr sometimes pretends to be other people on chat programs and may have pretended to be one of Navos' friends in order to weed out some information on Malfaren from him. Navos claims to have been suspicious but played along anyway. This information apparently went into a now suspended Twitter account centered on flinging hate towards Malfaren that Malf suspects was run by Zephyr. I can chide Navos on his decision to share the info here, as giving information to an allegedly known stalker is ridiculously dangerous and stupid, but it can be argued that he didn't know for sure who it was. Even still, discretion is your friend, bud. Maybe don't give that information out at all to anyone. The other person noted here is Alistair, who from what I can tell is Navos' roommate. This one is a bit harder to talk about, as according to Malf, he was an uninvolved third party that didn't want to be involved or spoken about, but brought on anyway as part of Navos' evidence against Malf. I don't know if this is the case, but the two sure mention him quite a bit, including Malfaren claiming that Alistair has a large call-out post in the works and even several paragraphs about his own negative interactions with the guy in his second Google Doc, which released nearly the day after and is still being updated as things go on. Good on you, man, for keeping updates. These logs seem to refute the issues he had with Alistair, who supposedly apologized and offered more context to the situation and claims of assault, which were lessened. Again, good on you guys for sorting that out and leaving it in the doc. Since Alistair wishes to remain out of it, that's pretty much all I'm gonna say about him in this video. Unfortunately, there's a gap now, as a few days later, Navos dropped 2 YouTube videos centered around Malfaren that are now private. I did not see these when they were available, so I only have Malf's response in the doc to go over, and he says it was pretty much a rehash of the rest of the accusations and doubling down on the pedophile accusations. And that was it for a while. Until about earlier, a few weeks ago, where Navos once again released another YouTube video regarding Malf's responses to his callout. But this one I did get to see. It's still up as of the time of writing, with just about 158 views, no likes, and 27 dislikes. Oh boy, I'm curious to see how this goes. Upon first watch, it really comes off like Navos is trying too hard to make jokes, but has genuine issues. That is until a few minutes past that, where things quickly spiral off the rails.
He has accounts to stalk me on FA, Telegram, Discord, and Twitter. Am I just not blocked? Or, well, I am. Ain't that special.
This video was apparently made in response to a recent tweet Malfaren posted stating that anyone who associates with Navos after the fake pedophile accusation should not talk to Malfaren anymore, which Navos apparently took as slander and giving his friends and fans an ultimatum. That's a bit of a bad take by you, Navos, considering how Malfaren was unjustly attacked over false claims from a fake source which has shown to be fake many times now. It's weird that Navos keeps bringing that up, by the way, but we'll get into that in a bit. The point is, that kind of tweet is a natural post of someone angered by inflammatory accusations and in no way supports an ultimatum. This is protecting oneself fully and isn't a choose him or me situation. It's a, hey, I need to protect myself, so if you associate with this guy, please don't associate with me, to put in kinder terms anyway. This makes sense as a means of protection given that personal information was already given out prior and conveniently not mentioned in the video, which instead goes into a variety of evidence for Malf being certain things. A lot of the evidence here, or what can be called evidence, as it just flashes up on screen fairly quickly as Navos mentions the buzzwords, the most blatant being the stalking evidence, which doesn't really show any evidence at all besides screen caps and Navos' own comments and posts, which is odd, so not really a lot to stand on with that one. It seems that Navos thinks that because he has Malfaren blocked, or the other way around, on most things, his public posts can't be reached by Malf. except for the fact that they are public posts. Excluding the Discord posts, it's not like the two don't have mutual friends regardless of that previous tweet, who likely shared it over. It's quite a jump to immediately make to stalking. Doesn't make sense. His next point is regarding Malfaren allegedly giving a mutual friend an ultimatum regarding their friendship. This was already addressed by that mutual friend and stated that this is not what happened, so there's no real point in talking about it. The same goes for the next part, talking about Alistair. Again, the affected parties both already spoke up and either apologized and or debunked the claims themselves, so it's of little benefit to bring them up yet again. Despite that, Navos tries to adjust the conversation to Malfaren's update of the situation to being that Malfaren decided that wasn't the case. Which, yeah, people can do that, and should do that, when provided with more context and information, which is exactly what happened, especially from the unrelated third party that doesn't want to be involved. Navos here does bring up one good point in this section though, and that's the issues with Zephyr and Accusations being friends with benefits.
But Navos and him are fuck buddies? What the fuck?
That really isn't anyone's business and doesn't matter to the overall story. I'll go over this a bit later when I detail Malf's attitude with responses, but for now it doesn't matter in the slightest whether or not Navos and Zephyr banged. The other point he brings up is from another third party telling Navos that Malfaren apparently found someone's actions a bit rapey, as his words state, and another third party alleging that some sort of sexual assault by what appears to be Navos, but no context is given for that. Navos instead takes this word rapey and immediately expands on that to say that Malfaren accused his roommate of being a rapist. Okay, that's not what it means. And again, we have a big leap of logic from Navos. There's a difference between something being rapey in nature and someone being a rapist. And those two accusations are very, very different. The song Baby It's Cold Outside is rapey in context. Brock Turner is a rapist. These are not the same things, and trying to equate them doesn't work. Thinking someone's actions or behavior comes off as rapey does not equate to actually accusing them of rape. The sexual assault, possibly, but there's no other context given here, and that wasn't said for Malfaren in the first place either. Navos brings this particular point up a few times in the video and tries to use it as a base for justification for these attacks, and yeah, it just doesn't work. Semantics and clarification are a thing needed with context that just isn't given anywhere here. After that, there's some attacks on Malfaren's money and job issues.
No wonder you haven't had a job in 2 years, Malfaren. You probably call all your bosses rapists.
Which just tact, man. They don't come off as anything worthwhile and just attacking for the sake of some jokes at Malf's expense, but just aren't funny. People can have money issues, especially during COVID times. That's not a point, that's just unnecessary cruelty. And again, lacking context. But at least Navos shows some self-awareness right after by calling that hit cruel and to...
Never, ever make fun of someone's financial status or their lifestyle.
Before plugging Malf's Ko-fi, which is a weird segue. It doesn't make sense as to why it's here outside of a few cheap jokes. Big miss on your part, Navos, but at least good on you for acknowledging it and plugging donation links, I guess. Probably would have been better to cut that whole section entirely. Finally, we get to the real meat of the video, and that is Navos once again addressing the post that started it all, the pedophile accusations, everyone's favorite remix. Now, he finally admits in clear context and words that he believes the logs were fake.
And yeah, they're 100% fake. I do not believe those pictures are real.
As they were given to him from a random burner account, and he sat on them for months before deciding to release them. It's a bit weird he sat on those logs for so long, especially thinking that they were fake instead of outright deleting them, but we'll get into that momentarily. One thing I forgot to mention earlier was Malfaren and Navos' reactions to the pedophile accusation drama. What started as Malf defending himself from disgusting accusations quickly grew into a shouting match in the comments, especially with Navos poking the bear, as it were, before finally deleting everything and offering the limp sorry without saying sorry of my bad, which led to further shouting as Navos quickly started playing the victim, saying Malfaren was being mean to him despite apologizing and deleting the post, not seeming to realize that those kind of accusations may leave some lingering anger behind, but that still leaves some questions. If Navos knew they were fake and admitted as such to the point of apologizing, at least claiming to in private, why does it keep coming back? Why does Navos keep bringing it up over and over again? Why were they posted in the first place? I'll let him answer that question.
I know it's a crazy science for some of you, but hurtful people hurt people. I made those chat logs public because it's something he would do.
No!
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
That's not how any of this works. That is very, very wrong. There's no real justification for that at all. This is kind of Navos saying the quiet part out loud, literally saying he released potentially incredibly damaging accusations that he suspected might be fake for no other reason than because he thought Malfaren would do the same. That isn't how any of this works, and quite frankly can be the literal definition of slander. Navos immediately goes on to say he apologized in private, showing chat logs, but acts as if he didn't understand why Malfaren would still be angry. He seems oblivious to think that Malf had every right to be mad and still does. Navos, let me talk to you real quick. You literally slandered the dude for no reason than because you think he would have done the same to you. That sort of action is reprehensible no matter how bad you think a person is. If such a person is as bad as you think, then there's no reason to use fishy chat logs. There should be plenty of real evidence to use, but so far all Navos has is shown conjecture and leaps of logic. So no, Malfaren is immediately in the right here and has every right to be as mad as he is, and it's his prerogative who he tells about what Navos did to him. Navos acting like that's weird and somehow a slight against himself is honestly, it's just really childish. How are you going to badmouth someone and then act like everything is going to be fine just because you apologize? That's not how the world works, bud. You're not owed anything if you are the one in the wrong, no matter how you feel. That's not extreme, as Navos puts it, even going so far as to ask.
And what did Malfaren say? Oh, I don't owe you anything. I have nothing to apologize for. You're a sick fuck. I'm gonna tell everybody about you. Now, whoa. Like, that's kind of extreme. Like, what did Malfaren have against me? Why did he hate me?
Maybe because you slandered him for no reason other than you thought he would do the same? Next is more so the wrap-up of the video, where Navos brings up all the past claims and evidence to conclude that he believes Malfaren would harm a child.
This is why I truly believe Malfaren would harm a child. He's a fucking stalker. He harasses people. He makes up terrible lies. And he has no idea what he was doing is wrong.
Now, I feel like I really shouldn't have to explain why that is an egregiously bad take or a giant leap of logic, considering never once have children been involved in any of this outside of fake chat logs. But it's also just not justification either. For some of this, I can see where Navos might be going. Sure, his leaps of logic are confusing for the most part, but there's a couple that seem like exaggerated takes, sure, but a logical next few steps. But to conclude, this in particular is showing Navos' hand. It's pretty clear from an outside perspective that Navos here gave himself a conclusion and then tried to frame everything he could in order to fit that conclusion, no matter how messy. And I'm sorry, that's not how logic or justice works. Conclusions must be reached from evidence and context, not the other way around. You're not trying to solve a puzzle by staring at the finished art on the box. The better metaphor would be a bunch of Lego bricks of varying colors with no finished conclusion to reach. You have to use the evidence to reach a logical conclusion that fits with the pieces you have. And these pieces just don't equal Malfaren harming anyone besides Navos' feelings. Now, what about Malfaren? What's going on over on his end? Malf seems to be doing the correct thing when it comes to this sort of drama, which is keeping quiet, for the most part, and recording everything being accused or thrown at him. A couple things about this drama immediately jumps out at me, and that is how quickly it escalated, and how easy it has been for Navos to get responses from Malfaren, and that is where Malfaren is a bit at fault here, for continuing to entertain these openly antagonistic antics and threats of legal involvement. Malfaren kind of helped this particular drama go on so long. Everything Malf has posted about Navos has been co-opted by Navos to use as evidence against him. So I believe this is a good example of why you should always follow the #1 rule of the internet: shut the fuck up. Hindsight is 20/20, but Malfaren here kept providing Navos with ammo, which I'll give Navos credit for immediately picking up and running with, even if his conclusions are wildly flawed. In these cases, it can be extremely hard not to respond emotionally, which Malfaren did, and can't be blamed for. However, it is a better idea to take things calmly and professionally. Discredit the initial claim, and additional claims quickly will discredit themselves as the credibility of the claimant lessens. After that, collect as much data and claims as they appear for legal reasons should their harassment not stop, but remember to keep quiet. No reaction is a reaction and shows to the harasser that they aren't getting the response they want, and usually results in frustration frustration before burnout. Don't feed the trolls, as they say, which also means do not insult the harasser or make conclusions about them either. This feeds their will and also ignites their own defense mechanisms, which can easily result in a flame war, which we have already gotten pretty close to seeing, if already not in the middle of one with this drama. Before I end here, I'd like to stress that I don't know these two's history prior to this. I know they've had several mutual friends, and I know the conflict is still ongoing for the most part. Malfaren seems to be doing the smart thing now and keeping quiet, collecting data, and keeping antagonistic responses to a minimum. Navos, I'm not sure what he's planning on doing given this is his third video and doesn't seem to have any new bits to add aside from the threadbare allegation of stalking, which again holds no water. His follower count is hemorrhaged. I believe he's been kicked out of several artist circles and Discord servers according to other people's posts, but he doesn't seem to be letting this go. I hope he can figure his shit out because man, this isn't it, bud. Bit of a shame because he does have some good comedic timing in his video. The editing is fairly decent and the pacing is honestly top notch. I do have to knock him for the constant sounds. Those got annoying very, very quickly, but otherwise as a video it's not bad. Maybe just stay away from the flame war slander stuff and write some short form comedy instead, or do reviews. No, wait, no, that's my territory. Don't do that. No, wait, no, stop, no. Hey guys, thanks for checking this one out. I've been seeing this going on Twitter for a while now, and I always wanted to talk about drama. And this is some very interesting drama and was a lot of fun to research and write up. A lot of work though. I know this is going to come out several weeks after when I first saw this, just because it's so much to go through. But hey, it's something. Let me know if there's any other drama you want covered. I will. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm thinking of making it a new series, drama journalism maybe. Anyway, remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell so you always get a new video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Tell me if I should check out any other drama or anything interesting that maybe you want a video essay on. And that's it. Have a great day, and if you're not, have a better one. See ya. Fading memory of a shipwreck in the undertow. You're just a lost song alone. You're not just a ghost in your side.